Oh, what is going on? You are watching and, of course, listening to Tags Live. And I'm talking about Talk About Gay Sex, the live edition, where we are here every Wednesday night on the Crowdcast platform. I am your host, Stevie. This is episode 493, making our way to 500. What?
What?
Alongside my partner in crime, Kodi Maurice Doggette. How the hell you doing, Kodi?
Hello, darling. I'm back in New York City, darling. I'm feeling fabulous, darling, and like a homo.
I love it. I love it. Make sure your mic's like
Yes.
there, and I think it is.
Yeah,
We
it's good.
are
Right here, it's good.
there. Yeah, great, great, great. We
Perfect.
have so we've been having special guests on the last several episodes of Tags Live, and we're going to continue that in the rest, September moving on. But on this episode, it's you and I
Yes.
grabbing the hot topics, and we have so many of them. We are in front of a live virtual audience, so we welcome your comments throughout the evening. We will get to you. I see some familiar faces. Hi, Bryce. Hi, Doug. On and on and on. Malibu, I see from a previous episode. Welcome, welcome. Bring your comments to the comment section. Okay, well, we couldn't start the show without honoring, acknowledging Madonna's 65th birthday today. And I'm so excited because, Lincoln, our other co host, is
Yes.
probably bigger fan than I am, although that's
What?
arguable. Well, I mean, some of these Madonna fans, Kodi, they are out there.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm a huge fan. I know you like her a lot,
I love her.
but
Yes.
we just had to say happy birthday, Madonna, on her 65th
Yes.
birthday. And the other good news to report is she has rescheduled for her American tour. It all starts in December. Tickets are starting to be available again. Life is good. She's currently
Amen.
celebrating her birthday in a beautiful place, Portugal, with her
Ooh.
family, a beautiful place that I really want to go to. It's on my bucket list. And I couldn't help but want to shout out to USA Today, did a whole thing on the 65 reasons. It's her 65th birthday. So 65 best songs. I don't know if you had a chance to go through it.
I did.
It was
I went to
interesting to
see if
see.
I went to see if
Yeah.
my favorite was close to the top. And of course it is, darling.
Okay. So what's your favorite then?
So my all-time favorite, I fell in love with Madonna for after Cherish. Okay,
I don't
when
even know
that
if
came
that's on the
out,
list.
I didn't see it, but
That's a
my
miss.
all-time, yeah, because it's such a good song. That one and Secret is such a good song. I like the smoothed out R&B type Madonna. So my favorite song by her is Take a Bow, of course, and it's at number 5. So I love,
Such a
love, love that
great
song.
song.
Yeah.
Yeah. At
What
65
about?
was Bitch I'm Madonna featuring Nicki Minaj, which is a song I like, but a lot of people don't always like it.
Mhm.
Going through the list, number 63, Hanky Panky from the movie Dick Tracy. I love that song. Die Another Day at number 62. That
Ooh,
was a
that's a
really
good
fun
one.
moment in
Yeah.
time. Celebration was a song that came out co-produced by Paul Oakenfold at the time that really was a greatest hits album for her, and she created the song Celebration. And I remember I was dating a guy in 2009 and he was
Mhm.
all about this song. Now I think I love it. It goes in line with Holiday, Celebration, Holiday. It just really is great. Other ones, one of my favorite songs, although not in
Mhm.
the top
That's what I
10
was
or
gonna ask. Yeah.
20, at number 58 came Erotica. I would have put that earlier on,
Ooh.
but I'll never forget when in the 80s and Madonna was segueing out of Like a Prayer into the early 90s, she started doing some of these rap talk singles, Justify My
Justify My
Love,
Love. Yes.
the song I just mentioned, Erotica. And I remember we call him my big brother, who was a family friend. He was like, I don't like when Madonna does those kind of talky kind of things. I was here
Uh,
for it. I mean,
It's
my
good.
favorite, I love Erotica so much. I love that album, Erotica. So moving down the list, an unknown hit, or not even a hit, but I have a B-side of it, Gambler. It was part of the Virgin tour. I think it was supposed to always just be this B-side. It's a great song. I went to the Virgin tour. It was amazing back in the 80s. Moving quickly down the list, American Life is at number 46. And the only thing I can say about that song, it's not even my favorite song, but I was fortunate to be a part of the music video at that time. I got cast. And
Wow.
so I always will have a soft spot, even though I'm surprised they even put it on the list because always, I think Lincoln said it recently, our co-host, that it's the album that got her off the radio and got her
Oh,
panned for many
wow.
reasons. So, but I was a part of it, so I was happy.
Yeah.
Scrolling quickly down, I'll post all the rest of it on TAGSPodcast.com. Rain came in at number 32. Do you remember that
Ooh.
song in the
Feel it on
video?
my fingertips, hear it on my window pane. Your love's
And
coming
that
down like
short
rain.
black wig.
It's
Oh
so
my,
good.
yes,
I
such
love
a good
Madonna.
one.
She's given
Number
us so much.
24, Who's That Girl? And, as Madonna movies go, it's become a cult classic. I really love Who's That Girl, the movie, and I love that song. It's just one of my favorites. Paired up with La Isla Bonita, it's beautiful. I love it.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, at number 19, Don't Tell Me, came out in 2000. Don't remember the cowboy themed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
Great.
that's off the music album, right?
I believe so. Yes. Don't
Okay.
quote
I
me
could
on that.
do a little
Number
investigation.
13 was probably one of my all-time favorite song, Lucky Star. And I can do that little dance that she does at the beginning of the music video. It's cute. It's fun. I love it. One of my favorites. Number 9, Like a Virgin. Number 8, Into the Groove. Number 7, Like a Prayer. This is USA Today, by the way. Number 6,
Mhm.
Express Yourself. Number 5, Take a Bow. Number
Ugh,
4,
my fave.
Ray of Light. Oh,
So good.
1998.
I
Like,
could
you
just sing
just,
all these songs, like, as
and
soon
I
as you say them.
feel like a
So good.
Number 3, which interesting, Papa Don't Preach. Okay, I
Oh.
like it. I like it. Number 2, which would probably be number 1 for me, Vogue.
Oh,
And
that I mean, it's
lastly,
iconic.
the number 1 song that they put on there was Open Your Heart.
Aw. Is that her first
But
single? What is that? Why is that number
no,
1?
I don't know
I
why
don't
they chose Open Your Heart as the number 1 song, but wouldn't make my number 1 song.
Me
I
either. What is
actually
your number 1 again?
Vogue, Express Yourself
Okay.
are kind of
Ty?
tied. Ray of Light's up there. Like a
Yeah.
Prayer's really high up there. Lucky Star. I mean, there's so many. Yeah. Uh, People are writing in. Malibu says Erotica is so good. Bryce says I love Frozen and Don't Tell Me, but I don't see Joan of Arc on there. I love that song. Ooh, that's a good one. Yes, Bryce says I love Ray of Light. So good things. Happy birthday, Madonna,
Happy
on her
birthday,
65th
Madonna.
birthday. And I'm so happy the tour is back on track. So get
Yes.
your tickets. I will hopefully be there as well. Well, we love it when people write in, and we had a couple of comments. One of them had to do with favorite positions that we were talking about on episode 492. Kodi and I were
Mhm.
actually. And a friend of mine wrote in, he apparently listened to the episode, and he said, absolutely missionary. And this is a guy,
Oh, wow.
Kodi. What's interesting about the guy that wrote in, texted me this, was
Mhm.
he's somebody that we've got into a fetish a couple of different times where he'll drink a ton of beers and
Oh,
he
this
will
guy. Yeah.
release his piss into my mouth,
I was like, how is he gonna put this?
which
I
I'm
was
so
waiting on bated
into.
breath.
And I was so surprised that he was the one that said missionary all the way. But
Oh,
just
because
goes to
he's
show
oh,
you, intimacy is intimacy.
that's right.
Um, Another listener that watches our show all the time actually was responding to a topic we were talking about where on Grindr, showing up at somebody's work when you meet them on the app and how inappropriate that can really be. He wrote, "This one hits home. I was talking to someone on Grindr, and after he sent his nudes, he wrote, quote, 'I know you. I walked to your job, handed you an application. Why didn't you hire me?' He wrote. I went straight to blocked." I mean,
What?
crazy. That's like an HR nightmare waiting to be happened. And yeah, so real
Yeah,
life
that's
incidences.
insane.
Yeah.
Wow, I don't know what I would do in that situation. I would probably contact them and be like and tell them why I didn't hire them first and then block them.
Exactly. We want to just make a quick announcement that many of you know Idina Menzel is theater queen of them all,
Yes.
actress. She's coming out with her brand new album called Drama Queen. Love the title of it. The first 4 tracks are available right now. Look up Idina Menzel, Drama Queen, and it's amazing. Kodi and I are actually going to go to the listening party tomorrow night
I'm
in
excited.
Brooklyn.
It's in
Super
Brooklyn.
excited,
Yes.
and we want everybody to download Drama Queen. Check it out. There's a song called Paradise by Nile Rodgers, and it's amazing. Think disco, think just dance your ass off. It's about time she's doing this, and the album drops Friday. We will
Yes.
post pictures on our Instagrams. We'll give you that at the end of the show, but you got to check it out. And hopefully, we'll get Idina on our show. Fingers
Yes.
crossed.
I gotta get my look together for tomorrow night.
Get your look together because it's all going down. Okay, well, we have got to talk about some news that, we've been talking a lot about O'Shea Sibley and
Yes.
how just horrific that was of O'Shea Sibley, who was stabbed to his death at a
Mhm.
Brooklyn gas station by simply voguing with his friends in a gas station a few weeks ago. And now they've caught the assailant, and, we've been reporting on that. Well,
Yes.
2 men have recently, just this past week, were stabbed outside a London gay bar. The stabbing, which is being investigated as a homophobic attack, just comes amid reports of hate crimes in Britain. The 2 men were stabbed outside of the London gay bar Sunday night in what police are investigating as a homophobic attack. One of the victims was in his 20s and the others in his 30s. They were treated at a local hospital. They've been released, thank goodness, but authorities are still trying to locate the suspect who ran away after the incident. The incident occurred at Two Brewers, a South London gay bar, been open for 40 years. And
Mhm.
in a statement, the bar said it was assisting the police as they carry out their investigation. In an interesting twist, the one of the victims actually has gone on record and said that I've been feeling sad, not
Mhm.
angry or confused, he wrote. I've just been left so many questions to think that this can lead to changing a person's mind that much that he can feel it's okay to attack anyone. And he concluded with a heartfelt thanks to the community. Quote, "What today has strengthened in me more than ever before is that I could never and have never been prouder, happier, or more comforted by the community. I'm lucky enough to, as my LGBTQ plus family. I would never
Yeah.
change it for the world." There's a lot of things to this story, including the mayor of London, who's gone on record to really say that he does not stand for any of this anti-gay hate. But there's
Mhm.
local groups in London and LGBTQ communities actually organizations, Kodi, that actually say enough work hasn't been done to combat this current wave of anti-LGBTQ hate. So they don't think
Yeah.
actually the city, the communities are doing enough. And it's interesting to see, maybe because he's just happy to be alive, this victim. But what did you think when you heard about all of this? And what do you think that's going on that we're seeing right now?
Uh, when I first heard about this, of course, I was going to come on here and say it's giving me pause to go out and live my best homo life. And it makes me a little bit scared, but it also, I think, and more importantly, it makes me really, really angry because who would have the audacity to think that they can control somebody else's life by going out there and attacking random people just because he had to assume that this gentleman was a homosexual because how else would he know if he didn't see certain things going down? You know what I mean? Because he would actually have to see that the actions happen in order for
Right.
him to know that he was gay. And it really just pisses me the hell off, honestly, and how audacious people are. And I really blame the fear mongers that are spreading all of this hate right now. And it gives the people that are more susceptible to it the drive to go out and actually attack people. And I just think it's really, really it's insane. It's wild to me. So I really don't understand it. What did you think?
I felt the same way. I felt that, thank God, this victim is keeping his head up high. I think there needs to definitely be more work if they're seeing the same things we're seeing in other parts of the world. That I'm glad that organizations are saying enough isn't being done to combat this anti-gay. Like, who's really looking out for this? It's one thing for the mayor to say we don't stand for this at all,
Hmm.
but we just day in, day out, continuously see crimes like this.
Yeah.
And ones that we're also not talking about enough are really the anti-trans people
Yes.
that really go unannounced on a day by day basis. And so I really think we need a task force that's really stepping up to the plate in every city where this is being done to it. So I think a lot more work needs to be done, and we don't want to continue to report on these things, but more work needs to be done, and more a shining light needs to be on the
Hmm.
anti-trans victims that we
That's right.
continuously that go unreported. Bryce watching us live says so many people like to hate on others so that they don't have to work on themselves. Good.
Amen. And I just want to say also that I looked at the uh, the person that was assaulted, their Instagram, and it seems like they're such a lovely person. And on top of being hot, because it really takes a special kind of. I had to throw that in there, but just in case he's listening. Okay, all right.
He was.
It really takes a special kind of human being to really not take this and to put a positive spin on it, kind of, sort of, which I feel is what they're doing, and really try to provide or to a sense of community for everybody and make this a coming together like we did with O'Shea Sibley, which was another heinous act.
Absolutely. Well stated. Switching gears here to, all right, imagine in your head a
Okay,
21 year
I'm
old,
imagining.
a 21-year-old Barack Obama opening about gay sex and his fantasies. Bear with me here. In a 40-year-old letter that was penned by Barack Obama at the age of 21, the former president opened up about his fantasies of making love with men.
Oh.
All right, you can see what. Hold on. So this letter, Kodi, was actually written to his college girlfriend at the time. He's 21. He wrote to his girlfriend, Alex McNear, in the year of 1982. And it just happened to resurface by a historian, David Garrow's biography, quote, Rising Star, The Making of Barack Obama. And in the letter, this is what Obama expressed. He wrote, quote, "In regard to homosexuality, I must say that I believe this is an attempt to remove oneself from the present, a refusal perhaps to perpetuate the endless farce of earthly life. Quote, you see, I make love to men daily, but in the imagination," he admitted. And he also said, "My mind is androgynous to a great extent, and I hope to make it more so until I can think in terms of people, not women as opposed to men. But in returning to the body, I see that I have been made a man, and physically in life, I choose to accept that contingency."
Oh.
Interesting
Interesting.
surface about Barack Obama. It's almost very poetic in many ways, the way it's
Oh, yeah.
written, and
Mhm.
honest. And I think when people talk about a spectrum of how you fall on a sort of spectrum of sexuality, many times this is how we spoke about it in years past. And
Mhm.
I think he's being very poetic and very honest with his feelings. I think ultimately he's taking, there's a line in there where he's talking about, yeah, he had fantasies, and the
Yeah.
whole thing about androgyny. I think it's interesting because he's also looking at society at the time. And
Mhm.
if you look back at history, it was actually Biden that was quicker to accept gay marriage before Obama was.
True.
And I think Obama found himself in political realms that he went with what he was kind of saying in this letter to his
Mhm.
girlfriend. This is where I found myself. It's not that he was ever against people, same-sex people being together. It's
Uh-huh.
just that he also had a reality check of like almost a duality of both sides of himself.
Yeah, it was basically exploring his sexuality, which I think is amazing. We were just talking about Black men being open to their sexuality and their femininity last week with will.i.am and with my new baby daddy, Wayne Brady. And I'm so glad that this discourse is happening because we need to all be exploring sexually and to find out who we really, really are on the inside. And how do you know unless you have fantasies, unless you have experiences that would have you be able to check yes or no in those boxes, basically? And you know what? I also want to say that there are rumors out there, not just about Barack Obama, because this letter has come out. So I don't know if we can say rumor, but maybe we should say allegedly. But Justin Trudeau as well. So I don't know. So we'll see. Allegedly, we'll see what happens. I have no idea. But at the end of the day, I think that Obama is a married man, and who cares if he has fantasized about men? I have fantasized about women. Most of the time, there's another man that's involved in there, but there's a lady there. So I think it counts. So, what do you think? Do you think that have you ever fantasized about women before?
Sure, of course. I've had moments in time. I have women that I adore and think are
Yeah.
sexy and hot. But in general, I pretty much have been for the male persuasion for so many years. But I feel like I figured that out early on. It was society that didn't accept it. I feel
Yes.
in his poem, or what he's writing a letter to, he's actually saying that he gets the constructs of society,
Yeah.
but he has had fantasies about men. He's being really honest to a girlfriend at the time. And I think ultimately he chooses where he's at right now. But I think
Yeah.
it's, very enlightened in many ways.
Mhm. For
And
sure.
well, this is why he was my favorite president in so many
Me
ways,
too.
because it's so, I'm not surprised that I would see this from him. And I
It's
just think,
open-minded, and that's great.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So
Are we gonna show the little picture?
you
I
can show
have
it
it.
real quick since you
You know I
mentioned
have.
it. Well, I had to take two people out of this picture. Go ahead and show it. This was
Okay.
at
All
a
right.
dinner for the LGBTQ community in Los Angeles back and I forget what year it was. And look at Barack
Look at
Obama's
that.
hand on my shoulder like
I
that.
know. You
I
look
was
so
living
cute.
for it. There's two other people in the picture and the American flag, but of course I did not want to put them out in there. But I was living for that moment, and he could have. It was actually the second time that I met him, Kodi, and
Yeah.
I was so excited. He could, the first time I met Michelle as well, and she was awesome. But
Yes. Oh my God, I
they're
love her. She's the
lovely.
best.
They go down, yeah, lovely.
Yeah. I'm sure he had a fantasy about you after that picture.
Oh my God. We got a question, right? Who wrote this? Bryce, I believe. Do
Bryce did,
you
yes.
believe Obama would have been elected had those letters been released during his campaign?
That is a great question, Bryce. Sorry, I didn't get to let you
No,
even
I
finish
think
reading it.
no.
Yeah. I think no as well. I don't think that because the middle of the country where I
Yeah.
just came from, they would not have enjoyed those letters. They were trying to get him out for his birth certificate, which was something that was made up. So
And like I
yeah.
stated before, with the whole thing about how initially he wasn't for gay marriage in the campaigns that he was running, and
Mhm.
that later on, obviously, he was the president that inducted gay marriage, but it took a minute to get there. And so I think that this would have totally put a stain on that argument and all the things that he was pushing for ultimately. So, yeah, I think the answer is no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bryce thinks no too, unfortunately. So
Yeah, but we can't rewrite history, but what we can do is move on. And
yes.
there is this really interesting study that came out recently, and it's a study that looked at what constitutes great sex. So, we had to jump on this.
I
And
mean, hello.
and what we're talking about here is the difference between good sex and great sex. Yep, we're getting really into it. So, as it turns out, what makes sex great definitely differs from individual to individual, but the study showed that there's three common themes that have emerged, and they were orgasms, an
Mm,
emotional aspect, and the hard to define chemistry between individuals. So the
interesting.
study was entitled Caring, Chemistry, and Orgasms Components of Great Sexual Experiences, and it was published in Sexuality and Culture. The authors said that there's relatively scant studies about what maximizes pleasure during sex, what gives sexual encounters a turbo boost. However, knowing such things is of importance to sex therapists and counselors. So they interviewed 78 individuals about their sex lives, and they asked them to quantify the difference between good sex and great sex. Well, around
Oh,
2/3 were women and a third were men. So, and a third identified as non heterosexual. That's the last part I wanted to
okay.
read. So, orgasms, Kodi, emotional aspect, and chemistry connection. It's funny
Okay.
because you and I were talking about this on episode 492 just the other day about a lot of gay men are searching for intimacy in their sexual encounters. We were talking a lot about the difference, your favorite position on different positions that you can, what's more intimate than
Mhm.
not. And I think that this study comes at the right time based on the discussion that we were having the other day.
I agree.
Um, to me, orgasm doesn't come in at number one at all
Thank
because I
you.
think that everyone's always ready at a different time for that. But what I can say more recently is an emotional connection to somebody recently has been more important to me in what I'm looking for than a hookup. In other words, I shared with you offline a recent hookup that I had that I'm writing a short story on that will be on our
Ooh.
Patreon. Patreon page that you can read about, because I was instructed not to talk about it, but no one said I couldn't write about it, so I wrote a little story of it.
Come
It
on,
will come
loophole.
out. It will come out next week. Patreon.com/TAGSPodcast, where you can support Tags Podcast, and this will come out next week as an extra perk. But that, albeit how sexually satisfying that was in the moment, I can tell you that there's been somebody recently that I've been spending some time with that we have gotten closer and closer,
Mhm.
oftentimes not even we've had intercourse, sex, but sometimes it's just been so passionate that I can see where this study, that's more important to me. That's been more on my mind than
Okay.
even this super, super hot sexual thing that I had occurred to me. And I've had a lot of those moments, but they fade away at times. Unless I can continuously have that person come back, it's
Mhm.
like I'm looking more for like a super deeper connection for satisfying sex. Where do you weigh in on this when they talk about the things that are difference between good sex and great sex come down to orgasms, emotional aspect, and chemistry?
Oh, yes. I totally agree with you. Connection is at the top of the list. In fact, it's the number one thing that I wrote down. I feel like you can have good sex, but when you have that connection, when you have that, it's and chemistry is not really quantifiable. It's so elusive, but I feel like it's more about body chemistry. So I think that when those two things combine, that is what leads to great sex. Honestly, when they said orgasm, I was mind boggled. I couldn't believe it. For me personally, I think that an orgasm, while it does enhance the sex, it's not necessary for great sex. Some other things that I kind of put down were how horny you are personally, because I have been in situations where I have been super horny, and then I would go out and have sex, and that would elevate it a little bit more. But maybe you can file that under chemistry, but also how sexually charged the room is. So I've been in orgy situations where you are just there's dicks flying everywhere. So
Wow, I love it.
and it really makes the experience that much greater. So those two things for me really take I have to take into account as well for great sex.
Yeah, it's interesting because a great orgasm sometimes can be a final moment for so many people. But when you talk to people like we've had on our show, Finn Deerhart, sex and intimacy coach who works with Tantra, oftentimes you're building up a sexual moment between two people, an intimate moment between two or more people, and it doesn't involve orgasm. And
Mhm.
orgasm can actually be a beautiful moment at times, a
Yeah.
hot moment be times, but it doesn't necessarily mean great sex. It could just be like really good sex, I think.
Oh
So,
yeah.
yeah. What
I
are
hear
people
that.
saying? Yeah, before we move on.
Somebody just said, "I need deep intimacy so that he can get into my sea." Oh, okay. All right now.
Ooh,
Somebody's getting poetic like
wow.
Obama.
I love it. Okay. Well, keep those comments coming as we keep moving on. And the question right now is, are age gaps in gay relationships hot or fraught? And it became a recent thread on a Reddit thread, Ask Gay Men. And they asked the question essentially, is it wrong for a Gen Zer to be attracted to a Gen Xer? And is the converse creepy? Those were the questions that many were asking. Um, I don't know, Cody. Do you think that is it creepy or weird to have different? I'll read you a couple before you actually say.
Yeah.
One commenter said he and his husband have been together for 16 years and they're 17 years apart. You
Oh,
just have to
wow.
be realistic about later years in life when most likely the older person will die, leaving the younger person with many
Damn.
years left to live.
I wasn't
Okay.
expecting that.
Another Redditor said age gaps in straight relationships almost always make him feel uncomfortable since that kind of dynamic always feels predatory. But age gaps in queer relationships don't give him as much pause. For sexual encounters only, I don't care as long as everyone involved is able to consent and consenting. Yeah, I agree with that one. For
Yeah,
sexual, who cares, right? I mean,
yeah.
you're not going to know everyone's age. A third person said if both parties are consenting adults, it's really up to them. And if an age gap is too much, personally, as what you'd call an older guy, I don't find myself attracted to guys your age because we tend to not have a lot in common.
Oh,
So there was a lot to say
interesting.
there. Uh, I don't find it an issue
Yeah.
for sex at all, the age gap, definitely. What I've noticed more recently in terms of who I'm drawn to, it's about a 10-year gap, and they tend to be 10 years younger than me or
Yep.
around 8 to 10 years. But I'm good with that. I don't think I could date somebody in their 20s or 30s necessarily, although I don't lock that door because I think everyone's different. But in general, those that I meet, those that I am drawn to tend to be about 10 years younger than me. And I
Okay.
feel like I'm a 10 years younger than my age actually says I am. And so we kind of meet in the middle.
There it
How do you
is.
feel about it?
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I agree with a lot of the comments there. As long I
Mm.
don't judge, and you know what? As long as all parties are willing and able and consenting adults, then I don't care at all. But me personally, I am in line with you. I think that 10 years is about the maximum for me, but again, it's a case by case basis. I actually had people when I was in Kansas just recently, 18 years old, hitting me up on Grinder. And it was an instant blockety block 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 because I could not, first of all, for me to have to ID them, for me us to have sex, that's a no-go for me. So I'm good. And also my nephew is around that age. So for me to be it gets a little bit icky and messy for me. So I could not do 18 years old.
And let's be honest, that a lot of people that are of a certain age, myself included at the time when I was in my 20s, 30s, even my 40s, I wanted to go to every party that existed. I wanted to be on the dance floor. I still like to go out, but what I will say about it is I don't necessarily. We're going to do a story in a minute where
Mhm.
you guys have been together for a while and the experience that they get when different people meet up with them. And there's a point right now where, at least here where we live in New York, there
Mhm.
my phone blows up every week with party after party after party.
It's
And
always
every
something.
party has a cover charge of 40, minimum 40 bucks, if not more. And they're at all these different venues from Brooklyn to New York.
Mhm.
And I am at a point in time where I do not want to stand in line. Nope. Oh,
Me
nope, I
either.
don't need that. I don't want to buy a ticket to a party in advance when I would rather be at a fabulous restaurant with a couple of my close friends. I
Mhm.
meet guys on my own, like, going out. I don't want to, like, I can't do these parties that are incessant right now that are, like I said, blowing up my phone. I just don't wanna do that, and I feel like a lot of the guys would wanna be at these parties. I'm not standing in any line at all. I don't do that anymore. No, I don't. I'm just not gonna do that. Like,
I'm laughing.
we're going to the Adina Menzel listening party, but we have a friend
Yeah.
that's getting us in. We're on the list, and I can do that tomorrow. But that same venue that we're going to tomorrow typically has lines down the block. There's coat check. There's
Yeah.
on and on. Like, it just, I can have so much more fun in other, like, I can't
You
do
can't.
that.
I
And
get
I
it,
won't.
darling.
And I'm having great sex and I'm meeting great people in the way I'm doing it right now. But I just feel like it's not going to work out. It's just not going to work out right now with
No, I
a
feel you.
younger lot.
I do have a confession to make because I was laughing actually because I stood in line in Kansas, and while I was
Oh,
in line
oh.
while I was in line, I was, going through it. I said to myself, "Why am I standing in line? What is going on? What am I even standing in line for?" So, yeah, I it just made me laugh on the inside, so
I give you credit though, because we talked about it the other day, and I said, "Good for you for at least trying out the
Yeah,
scene."
I I
Can't
had to
believe there was the
go.
line, but good.
Me either. I was aghast because they had space in there, and I said to myself, if this was a New York bar, there would not be a line here. This place would be packed to the gills. It just was. Oh, it was a good experience. It was an interesting experience.
Well, a couple people before we move on to our next topic. Adrian says, to your last topic, there are times when I need a man to destroy me mercilessly, but
Oh,
if he knows how
hey
to be
Adrian.
tender with me as well, then that will draw me in. Oh, yeah.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
for that, Adrian.
I mean, Adrian, thank you for writing
Adrian also wrote on the current
that.
topic that we're talking about, says, young guys for me are an absolute no.
Oh,
And
hi
how
Adrian.
old are you, Adrian? I just
I know,
wondered. I mean,
right?
because everything's like relative, right, Cody? It's like I wouldn't there I just feel like if I met somebody that was really young and they were still exploring going out to clubs and bars. I
Uh-huh.
mean, that's all relative because I used to have this friend down the hall, this neighbor, and he would want to go to some of these parties, and
Yeah.
he's older than me. So it's all relative. And I think he was later on in life figuring all this out, but I just can't do all that. It's just not what I mean. I can have such a good time without all that drama. 36. Okay, Adrian, love it.
Hi, Adrian. How you doing? My name is Kodi Maurice Doggette.
I
No,
love it.
no. Bryce,
Okay.
Bryce also says he asked a question that I thought was very interesting. He says, "Is the age gap more important than the maturity gap?" He said that's his thought process. So, what do you think, Steve?
Is the age gap more important than the maturity gap?
Which one do you think is more important? Yeah,
Maturity, I think.
yeah,
I th- but I just go back to a lot of people can be mature. I used to be super mature acting in my 30s. I had a lot of older friends in my
hmm
20s and 30s that were much older than me, and I could go to a dinner party. I could go to all these things. I talk the
yeah,
talk. I happen to always grow up around older people. But then I started to figure out there's a whole club scene out there, and I wanted to explore all that. And so, is it possible? Sure. But I just think for me right now, it's like, yeah, I could have fun with any age group for
yeah.
sure. But if I was to kind of look around, it's going to be a 10-year age gap either direction, I think.
Yeah,
And it's
I
usually
agree
on
with that.
the 10 years younger than me, but
Yeah,
I-
because generally speaking, and this is no shade to anybody that's in their late teens or early 20s or what have you, how mature compared to a 40-year-old can an 18-year-old be? So that's
yeah.
just my thinking. So, but yeah, life is a journey, and maybe they're an old soul. So it's a case by case basis at the end of the day.
Well, this is a topic coming up that we found on a Reddit thread that I know, Cody, it kind of resonated with you a little bit. It's a little bit long, so I'm going to try and abbreviate it. But
Okay.
essentially, they entitled it First Reaction is Always He's So Hot. So he wrote, I'm in a loving partnership, but there's something that's been bugging me, making me insecure. Every time I'm out with my boyfriend or introduce him to a gay friend, their first response about him is always, wow, you are so hot. Or your boyfriend is so attractive. Good job locking that one down. Or something to that effect. I already hate this because people see him as so one-dimensional. He's
Mhm.
also funny, insightful, interesting, hardworking, compassionate, nerdy, family-oriented, and so many other things, dreamy things. But back to the main
Aw.
topic. When we are at gay bars or clubs, we don't go often, usually go to dance or hang with friends, but once in a while or once a month or every other month, my boyfriend is constantly approached by hot guys.
Oh.
Sometimes they literally wedge themselves between me and him, thinking I'm
Oh.
someone random who couldn't possibly know him. My boyfriend always moves around, so we form a circle, including me into the mix, which is great. I love the way my boyfriend stands up for me. He tells me you're the hottest guy I've ever been with. He treats me well and makes me feel
Aw.
super sexy. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit that a guy recently told this guy that uh, another guy walked up to my boyfriend while we were all dancing and tried to make out with him. He pushed him away and then said he was with me. That guy got a little pissy and then sneered at me and told me, Look at you. I am sure he's going to break up with you and find someone in his own league."
What?
I know. His boyfriend, it's caused a little bit of riff with these two guys because the guy writing this feels like the boyfriend keeps telling him, "No, I'm into you. Don't worry about this." But he's potentially getting tired of this. The guy writing it says, "I know I shouldn't care about something so vain, but I want to feel sexy. And the fact that my boyfriend is the first guy to say these words to my face makes me feel skeptical. Like it's hard to believe someone could feel that way about me." So there's some insecurity going on.
Mhm.
He's 30 and the guy writing this is 30 and he just wants to know, how do I not be so attached to negative run-ins like at the clubs or not feel insecure about the attractiveness? So this is an interesting one because it's almost like what I was talking about a minute ago when you kind of go to some of these clubs in dance clubs, when you're standing in line at these places, when you're at all of this is why I don't like these parties and the blowing up my phone. I don't have time for all of that. I'm really it's so not because I think a lot of these experiences tend to happen on the dance floor like this. And when you're with
Mhm.
a cup partner, I think they're amplified. And I think inevitable in it's people are going to be drawn to either you or your partner. And so
Mhm.
I mean I give credit for a lot of these guys that go out as couples, but you have to know that people are everything's amplified, the music's amplified, there are people on alcohol, on other extracurricular things, and
Yeah.
people are going to come for either you or your partner that you're with. And I just think, it's not really reality. And you kind of have to keep that in mind when you go to this. Really have never been in this moment because I haven't been in that many relationships where I would go to these parties like this.
Okay.
But I think that, you know, I don't know. What are your thoughts? I'm a little bit of a loss for words because I just think
Me too.
partly because of my answer before, where sometimes these parties get like a little crazy.
Yeah, I hear you, and they definitely do. I feel like I have been in this situation before, not to this degree, because, like you said, I feel like either someone would find me attractive or they would find my partner attractive or my ex-partner. And it was never to the point where the disrespect would be somebody actually attempting to kiss my I don't know how I would react. You know me, Steve.
I
I
do.
am I'm an emotional person. And I've accepted that about myself. So I don't know how I would react in that moment. I just know that it probably would not be good. I think that for this instance, for this person, I think that the good part is your partner is making you feel validated and sexy. So I think that that is amazing. And there's not anything else that your partner can do because you're saying that he's telling you that you're the most beautiful person that he's ever been with, which I know comes along with more than just physical beauty. He probably means on the inside as well. So your partner is not the issue in this instance. I feel like the remainder of the race that you have to run lies within yourself. So I really recommend therapy because it's really an insecurity that you have within yourself. And I can say, oh, you are beautiful. Oh, your partner loves you. Oh, your partner is so lucky to be with you. And none of that stuff. It'll be like falling on deaf ears, basically. So you really need to take the initiative and go out and find that security within yourself, especially if this is something that you really want to be in. So yeah, it's
Good points
definitely
that
happened to me
you're
before.
good points that you're bringing up, and the person writing it is in, I think, 29, 30, and so
Hmm.
it sounds like they also don't go out a whole lot as well, which is probably a good thing. So you're right, therapy could help with coming to terms with your boyfriend wants to be with you, and you need to
Yeah.
find a system where block out those other ones that are saying this, and try not to worry about these awful people that are saying these things to you. I
Man,
mean,
let
that's
me
awful.
tell you, somebody
Yeah.
tried to kiss my boyfriend, they would not be walking away.
Yeah, I just find like I wouldn't be in this position anymore, but I feel for somebody that would be in this position right now. And I think that what they said is they don't go out that often, so it's
Uh-huh.
here and there, but it could still be
Take a drink.
bring up a lot of emotions. And so I do feel for the writer of what he's saying. And
Yeah.
I think his boyfriend, like you said, is standing up, and that should be commended. And you've got a good guy there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Make
I
sure that you are sucking his dick good.
Okay. And before we get to our final thirst trap of the week, which we love to talk about, a lot of you are watching And Just Like That. It's the Sex and the City current show that's on Max right now. And if you're currently watching, you will know the character of Giuseppe. And I love are you watching it right now, Cody?
I'm watching. I know exactly who Giuseppe is. He is tell him why you're talking about.
Um, Giuseppe is the guy, the bread guy that is Anthony, which is Charlotte's friend, Anthony. He has
Mhm.
the bread shop, and he hired Giuseppe to be a delivery guy. And when Giuseppe gets into the uniform, he is sporting a huge package in there, aside from the package that he's delivering, which has been really hot. And it's been really fun to watch. Well, recently somebody pointed out that Giuseppe, the actor, was actually in a different show, and the
Oh,
actor
really?
Luca Guada, Guadagnino was actually in a show that I watched that was called We Are Who We Are, which I
Oh.
can't highly recommend enough because it was by the director of Call Me by Your Name. It was on HBO. We Are Who We Are, which is, I just love saying that. We
Oh,
are who we are.
that's so
And
beautiful.
it was all done in Italy. Such a beautifully produced series that I just can't say enough of it. Like, you guys got to watch it. Really, really good. He was in that, and he was naked in that. So I think
Oh,
it's fair enough to say that he is
now I'm
equally
gonna go watch
hot.
it.
He's
Yeah.
equally hot, but I think it's fair enough to say that probably not his package.
I have the package in question. I'm gonna upload it right now.
Yeah, probably not his package, although he's in the ocean. And we were at the Naked Beach recently, Cody, and you were saying, okay, that's the package. We're showing
That
it
is the
right now. I'll
package.
post this on TAGSPodcast.com. Do you have the other package of
I
him?
don't. I couldn't find it.
Oh, okay. Well, it's in one of, I don't think I can get it.
Let me see if I can find it really quick.
It's in that same story.
Oh, it
And
is? Oh, let me
yeah,
go look.
and he's flapping around, and I think that it's not the package that you would imagine, but he's also in the ocean, so maybe he's a grower, not a shower. Either way, he's equally hot, and I think what's more important is I love this actor, and We Are Who We Are is such a beautiful series, and I was so happy to be reminded that, he was a part of that. Plus, I love him with Anthony, so it's that much better. So,
Yeah. I love
okay. Well,
Anthony.
you pull that up. It's our final segment that we love to do on this show, and it's produced by Straight Up Gay Porn. We put it in the comment section there for you to check it out. Straight Up Gay Porn does this weekly, and this week they're asking the Thirst Trap recap. Which of these 13 gay porn stars took the best photo of the week? And you got to vote on it. I have my vote. Do you have yours, Cody?
Yeah, do you wanna go first?
I'll go first. It's our job to vividly describe on an audio podcast when this show gets repackaged on why we chose the one we chose. I chose the guy by the name of Aiden Ward, who's sitting in a bathroom, a very nice
Oh.
bathroom. He is very lean and mean. He's got these great thick eyebrows. He's got a earring on his left that's a spike, and he's got this really amazing, I would say, it reminds me of Who's That Girl, this necklace that looks like diamonds around his neck that they put
Ooh.
on the tiger in Who's That Girl. He's super sexy and lean. He's got a beautiful package, great abs, great calves, great feet. Of course, I'm into that. And I tend to look at their Twitter account, and it turns out
Mhm.
he's a total top, and he's really good at his job. I just think he's super sexy, and he gets my vote. And I'm going to vote for him right
Fabulous.
now. Who gets your vote?
Yes. Well, I did my due diligence today because at first I was distracted by the asses, and Kane Fox and Oliver Marks were the 2 that
Oh,
jumped out at me at first, but then when I did my due diligence and my deep dive, and I finally figured out who I wanted to deep dive into, I had to go with Fabian Devani because he is just gorgeous and he takes a mean dick, and
well, he's
it's
currently
basically
number one
oh,
in
look
the
at that. I
voting
have good
process.
taste. Oh my, look at that.
Mine is in the last place, but
What?
mine's in the last place. Yours is in
I
first
can't believe
place.
that. Well, I'm a top, you're a bottom.
I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it's Fabian Devani is just a mirror selfie and it's just beautiful. He's absolutely butt naked. He's got a little black pearl necklace on, and he's just gorgeous. So he picked him. I picked him because I did my due diligence. I followed your lead this week. So yeah,
I
it's
love
great.
that. Yeah, Jen watching us says Oliver Marks can sit on my face. Ooh, wow. Okay, I love that. Doug also says Oliver Marks. Damn that ass. Bryce says Fabian Devani for me. Third leg J is number 2. Those eyes.
Oh yeah.
Love it. Oh my gosh, so great. Oh my, and we want to thank you guys for joining us tonight. So much fun. We also
Yeah,
want to
always.
remind you that we are going to be in Puerto Vallarta for the 2023 Vacaya Resort Mexico vacation in Puerto Vallarta from October 29th through November 5th. And you can join us. You can get $200 off by joining us. We're going to be live November 1st there, and we want you to be there. It's also Halloween. It's a great time. You can get $200 off. Use our promo code TAGS, TAGS. Simply go to tagspodcast.com and click on the link 2023 Vacaya Mexico retreat in Puerto Vallarta, and join us. We want to see some of you there. It's
Can't
going to be so
wait.
much fun. You can also win a trip too. That's also on
That's right.
TAGSPodcast.com. You can follow my co-host. He's a life coach at KMD Coaching, or on his personal account, Mr. Maurice on Instagram. Follow me. I am _Steve V on Instagram. And guys, in the meantime, continue having hot, gay
sex.
Yes, lovelies. Lovely. Great, you guys. Love,
Thank you
love, love.
guys.
I know.